Good morning. Welcome everyone to join our Sunday Dharma service. I'm filled with gratitude that we gather and practice together. Today we will engage in chanting, sitting, and bowing practice, followed by a Dharma talk from Reverend Jieun. And we will also hear from Martin about his young son story. So please all rise as we do our bowing practice. Behold the circular image before you, symbolizing the ultimate truth of neither arising nor ceasing, the principle of cause and effect. This image representing Ilwon-sang is enshrined within our minds and all things in the universe. If we were to describe the content of Ilwon-sang, it can be referred to as the fourfold grace. So as a gesture of reverence, we offer our prostrations through 4 bows to the Dharmakaya Buddha fourfold grace. Please bring your palms together. We'll do standing bow. We bow to the Dharmakaya Buddha fourfold grace, the grace of heaven and earth. The grace of parents. The grace of fellow beings. The grace of laws. Now please turn to your neighbor and greet each other with a smile. Seats. Peter Won-Sung-Yong will lead us through the method of sitting meditation.
The method of sitting meditation is simple and easy. Sit comfortably on the floor or in a chair. Breathe in, grab all your tension, and breathe it out. Open up your chest and heart Stretch up tall. Align your spine from your neck to your tailbone. Relax your shoulders and arms. Allow your hands to rest on your knees. Bring your attention to your breath. As you exhale, release all mental and physical tension. Invite your attention to abide in your chi energy field, which is called Danchan. This is located about 2 inches below your navel and is the power center for your breathing. Open your eyes and gaze downward over the end of your nose and to the floor. Keep your mouth closed and allow the tip of your tongue to rest gently against the roof of your mouth. When your mind is concentrated and calm, pure and clear saliva may gather in the mouth. You may swallow it. Relax your facial muscles and notice your gentle smile. If your face or body begins to itch, do not scratch. This is just a sign of the energy circulating in your body. Simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change position very slowly and quietly so that you maintain a calm stillness and do not interrupt others. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be discouraged or disturbed by them. Simply focus on your breathing without reacting to or playing with those thoughts. Recognize them as thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. And remember, keep bringing your awareness back to your Danjan breathing center. If you continue practicing meditation for a long period of time, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation in which the mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused and at peace, with no distinction between self and others, time and place. We are grateful to sit quietly together, finding the still point within. May we be here now, aware of our ever calm and alert spirit.
Gently stretch your legs. Wiggle your wrists and ankles. Relax your shoulders, neck, and back. Massage your knees. Now let us gather our minds for chanting practice. Please turn to page 4 and we will chant the Ilwan Sang Vow and Heart Sutra.
Yuan is the realm of samadhi beyond words and speech, gateway of birth and death, transcending being, origin of heaven and earth, parents of beings, and knows the true nature.
All Buddhas, enlightened masters,
Enlightened people, beings who will manifest
as both permanent and impermanent, viewed as permanent, the one
unfolds into
in infinite world that is ever abiding, spontaneous, just as it
as impermanence, here one unfolds into infinite worlds through the cycle of formation, duration, decay, and extinction of the universe, and the birth, aging, illness, and death of all beings, according to
how we use our minds and bodies in the 4 forms of birth. We transform through the 6 realms of existence,
progressing or regressing, grace arising from harm or harm from grace. Therefore we unawakened beings to practice wholeheartedly, modeling ourselves after Ilwan Song, the Dharma Kaya Buddha, by cultivating our minds and bodies deeply, knowing human affairs and universal principles thoroughly, using our minds and bodies skillfully, thus progressing rather than regressing, receiving grace rather than harm, until we attain the great empowerment, you want and become one with the nature of Ilwan. Heart Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, when deeply practicing Prajnaparamita, realized that all 5 aggregates are empty, and thus became free from all suffering and distress. So Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The same is true of sensations, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease in emptiness. No form, no sensations, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva relies on prajna paramita. Therefore, the mind has no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Free from delusion, one dwells in nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future rely on prajna paramita to attain supreme enlightenment. Therefore, know that prajna paramita is the great mantra, is the great enlightening mantra, the unsurpassed and unequaled mantra, which is able to eliminate suffering. This is true, not false. So proclaim the prajna paramita mantra, which has gone beyond, far beyond. Now awaken. Gate, gate, pada, gate, pada, sam, gate, bodhisvaha, gate, gate, pada, gate, pada, sam, gate, bodhisvaha, gate, gate, pada, gate, pada, sam, gate, bodhisvaha.
I am delighted to hear a Dharma talk from Reverend Jieun. Today, the Dharma talk title is How to Practice with the First Three Essential Dharmas of Daily Practice. Please join your palms together and welcome her.
Good morning. It's wonderful to practice with you in this beautiful morning. I always find it almost effortless to settle into my body and mind during our Sunday Dharma service. How about you? I believe it's the energy that we create together. I hope attending our Dharma service is part of your weekly routine, where you can refresh yourself and be reminded of the peaceful state of mind that is innate us. But how can you continue to practice in our daily lives, where we face challenging situations, when we experience difficult emotions like anger, sadness, disappointment, depression, frustration, worry, and so on? And how can you practice in those situations and make our meditation practice continue seamlessly? In the verse 1 of chapter 3 practice in the one Buddhist scripture, our founding master Sotaesan says, the purpose of having you recite the essential dharmas of daily practice in the morning and evening does not lie in reciting simply the words. Rather, it is intended to help you grasp their meaning in your heart and assess them in your mind, reviewing them generally once a day, and more specifically, examining them each time you are faced with sensory conditions. The essential dharmas of daily practice serves as a guide for our daily practice. It consists of 9 items, and each encapsulating the essence of one Buddhist teachings. And today, I'd like to discuss the first 3. The mind is originally free from disturbance, but disturbances arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances. I think it's on page 6 in our chant book. And the second and third items say that the mind is originally free from delusion and wrongdoing. Disturbance, delusion, and wrongdoing represents all the negative, unwholesome qualities of our mind that cause imbalance and suffering in our lives. Disturbance refers to any difficult or uncomfortable emotions, such as anger, jealousy, fear, resentment, or worry, etc. Delusion means cloudy thoughts, like prejudice, bias, judgment, ignorance, or attached thoughts. Wrongdoings are unskillful behaviors that cause harm to ourselves and to others. Disturbance, delusion, and wrongdoings mostly arise together. Sometimes disturbance arises first and delusion and wrongdoing follow. For example, let's say that when you were young, you had a bad experience with a bully who was tall and skinny and had blonde hair and wore a red ball cap. And if at some point in the future, if you encounter someone who resembles that description, then your body will automatically send you an alarm and you will freeze. Fear, disturbance arises. You might automatically associate that person in front of you with someone from your past, even though you know that it can't be the same person in your mind. Your mind becomes deluded. If you're aware of this at the moment, it may not develop into any wrongdoing. But if you are not aware and respond on autopilot, you may react unskillfully. You may even have impulse to harm that innocent person. And sometimes delusion arises first, followed by wrongdoing and disturbance. There's a saying that it's best not to shop for food when you're hungry. And you know why? Everything will look delicious, and you may end up having more than necessary. And similarly, it's wise not to pursue relationship when you're lonely, as loneliness can cloud your judgment and lead to unhealthy relationship choices. So understanding this mechanism in identifying disturbance, delusion, and wrongdoings in your mind helps you better understand what's going on in your mind and why you react to a certain sensory conditions in a certain way. Our mind is originally free from disturbance, delusion, and wrongdoing. This means they are not fixed in our minds, and therefore destined to disappear eventually. The strong emotions or stubborn habits can change. Our mind is originally free from them. This is the fundamental principle of our mind. Number one principle of our mind. Does it make sense to you? Do you believe that? Our mind is originally free from disturbance, delusion, and wrongdoing? So when I first learned this, it was life-changing. It fundamentally changed how I thought about myself. Like many of us, I struggled with self-doubt and the thought of not being good enough. However, these first three items of the essential dharmas of daily practice, which actually contain the dharma of Il-Won-Sang, this big one circle image, and the threefold practice, these three items made me believe that I am capable of breaking free from habitual patterns. And I am capable of every change. My perspective of myself shifted entirely toward optimism. I still find the thought of I'm not good enough arising, but now I know these thoughts are like these waves on the ocean. They arise and falls. The unnecessary thoughts, cloudy thoughts will disappear if I am aware of them and don't engage with them. And recently, neuroscience research found that our brain development doesn't stop at a certain age, as was previously believed. Our brain is not static or fixed in its potential. It can change throughout our entire lifespan. No matter how old you are, you can actually sculpt new healthy pathways in the brain and prune away old, unhealthy ones. Not just when you are young, but at any time. Whenever I read the articles of neuroplasticity, I think to myself, I knew this. It's nothing new to me. I knew this. No. However, it's not enough to simply understand this with our thinking mind. To have the strength to return to that place when you are upset or attached to something, we need to experience and confirm it ourselves. Then how can you experience the mind that is free from disturbance, delusion, and wrongdoing? How can you experience it? You know the answer. The answer is simple. We need to quiet our minds, quiet our thinking mind. Our minds are usually like a bottle filled with muddy water. It is clouded by various thoughts. And the bottle is always shaking, so never become clear. So when we practice meditation, we sit, focus our minds on Danjan, and just observe our thoughts come and go. In this way, we become separate from our thoughts. We become separate from our thoughts. In this awareness, the ego doesn't exist. And when you open your eyes slightly during meditation, you will feel like the universe just is, just manifest in front of you. you will realize there is no ego in this awareness. That we are not our thoughts or emotions in that space. You can then set an intention. I want to take refuge in this place. I want to return to this place. This is where I belong to. When you are angry or resentful, we feel like there is no other option but to be angry. We get stuck in their thoughts and emotions. And you think, how could you do that? How could you do that? You become slaves to our own thoughts and emotions. We suffer. It is only when we step back from our thoughts that we gain the power of choice. But pausing and taking just one step back, sometimes feel extremely difficult or even impossible when strong emotions or impulses are present. Meditation is important practice because it helps us develop faith in our original nature and gives us the power to pause the moment we are caught up in thoughts and emotions. But disturbances, delusion, and wrongdoing arise in response to sensory conditions. Sensory conditions refer to the objects our six sense organs contact. Our six sense organs, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. It's all up here. So you can understand them as anything that triggers certain thoughts or emotions. Everything you see, hear, smell, touch constitutes your sensory conditions. So why disturbances arise? If our mind is originally free from disturbance, why do disturbances arise? The verse doesn't say that disturbances arise because of sensory conditions. What does it say? It says it arises in response to sensory conditions. Right? In response to sensory conditions. If your partner says something and annoys you, it is not that your partner made you upset. Right? Rather, some thought in your mind responded to that sensory condition. Sensory conditions are just conditions. They are neither good nor bad. It is our labeling and perspective that makes something good or bad. This is the second principle that the essential dharmas of daily practice teaches us. The key to how we respond to a sensory condition lies within us. Let me share a story. This is a famous story in Korean Buddhism. A long time ago, there was a monk named Won-hyo in Korea. Have you heard this story? A monk Won-hyo? He was on a journey to China to study Buddhism. And one night, he stopped to rest in a cave. In the middle of the night, Won-hyo woke up and felt very thirsty. In the darkness, he found a bowl filled with water, and he drank it and felt very refreshed. Satisfied, he went back to sleep. The next morning, when he woke up, he saw that the bowl was actually an old human skull. And the water inside was very dirty, really. He was so disgusted that he almost vomited. But then he had a deep spiritual insight. Last night, when he thought the water was clean, he felt fine. But now, knowing the truth, his mind made him feel sick. This experience taught him a powerful lesson about our mind. Our thoughts shape our experience. After this, he decided not to continue his journey to China. Instead, he returned to Korea. He became a great teacher and helped spread Buddhism in Korea. Once you are caught up in a thought like, this is dirty, this is bad, he or she is wrong, I am right, it's very difficult to shift your perspective. Think about someone you feel you could never forgive. Sometimes taking just one step back from such thoughts can take an entire lifetime. But if you understand those emotions are not originally fixed in your mind, then you have a way out. You can pause and breathe and realize you don't need to be stuck in old ways of seeing that. Then a thought may arise. I guess he could do that. Disturbance, delusion, wrongdoings arise in response to sensory conditions, not because of sensory conditions. The key is within us. The next line says, let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances, delusion, and wrongdoing. Then how can you let go of the disturbances? When I was a student in Yongsan University, I wondered why Mr. Sote-san didn't explain, why he didn't add one line of how to. Isn't it the most important part? Now I realize that if you understand that your mind is originally free from disturbance, delusion, and wrongdoing, but they arise in response to sensory conditions, then you already know the answer about how to let go of them. However, in the chapter of Dharma of Timeless Sun, or Zen, sun is a Korean word for Zen or meditation. In that chapter of our Dharma book, Master Sote-san kindly gives us a more detailed instruction about this, about how to let go of disturbances. And he says, each and every time you are in contact with a sensory condition, do not forget to keep the thought in mind that an opportunity for practice has arrived. All that is taking a suitable measure of only whether or not you are affected by that sensory condition. When you find yourself, excuse me, when you find yourself experiencing uncomfortable feelings or emotions, remember first that this is the opportunity for practice and growth. Not something bad had happened. This means being willing to face the darker parts of ourselves rather than ignoring or running away from them. This takes courage. And always only measure whether or not you're affected by the sensory condition. Don't berate yourself when you see your shortcomings continue to arise, or when you make an unskillful choice repeatedly. Don't blame yourself. Don't beat up yourself. Shame doesn't help us learn new behaviors and change. This is another principle of the mind. Shame doesn't help. So turn your gaze inward and see your suffering clearly, and be compassionate with yourself. I believe this message is contained in the word only in this phrase. Only just observe yourself and don't blame yourself. Don't feel guilty. Taking suitable measure means carefully observe your mind with the eyes of a Buddha. Be with your awareness, not with your thoughts or emotions. And simply observe whether your mind is being pulled by sensory conditions or whether it's maintaining its centeredness. Taking a suitable measure if you're pulled by sensory condition or remain still. If you're pulled by the sensory conditions, you lose this battle, don't blame yourself. The only thing that you should be concerned about is when you are not even aware that you were pulled by a sensory condition. The journaling your practice with your sensory conditions can greatly help to support you be more mindful in this practice. You may think that sitting meditation is the most important practice. But the authentic definition of meditation, Zen or Sun, is the practice of attaining freedom of mind through gaining awakening to one's true nature, which is originally free from discrimination or attachment. This is the definition of Sun, Zen meditation. In Won Buddhism, this is called timeless meditation. The essential Dharmas of daily practice is a guide to this timeless meditation practice. I hope you remember these 3 items and review them each time you are faced with sensory condition and attain freedom of mind. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Reverend Jieun, for explaining the core principles of our mind practice in Won Buddhism. Next, before that, how about raise your hands? Deeply breathe in. Hold your breath. Tense your body. And breathe out, relax. Now to the floor. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Now breathe out, relax. To the back. Tense your body. Breathe out, relax. To the front. Breathe in, hold the breath. Breathe out and relax. Rest breathing. Now, Martin Howell, Won Bob Kang, who participated in the Young Science Day program in Korea, will share his story. Please join your palms together and warmly welcome him.
How's that? Good. Excellent. For those that don't know me, my name is Martin Wan Bob Kang. And it's very nice to see all of you this morning. In May, I had the privilege to visit Yongsan in South Korea, 2 hours south of Seoul on the coast. A magical place with rolling hills, fresh winds, water, a place you could imagine to spend your whole life. This place provided a protected environment for me to deeply engage in studying my mind. And in fact, all of the people that I met there that were committing their lives to Won Buddhism were also committed to spending their lives studying their mind. And while psychologists or traditional therapy says you can't objectively study your mind, you can only study other people's minds. Through Yongsan and through this community, I have learned that through practice, the right tools, meditation, questioning, sharing, you actually can study your own mind, and it's a worthwhile cause. Of course, spending time there, the question came up, why is it so important to study your own mind? Why do some people spend their whole lives studying their own mind, and why is that pursuit seemingly infinite? Studying my mind is of utmost importance to me, because only after studying and beginning to know it can you start to train it and start to use it in ways that you would like to see it help shape the world. On my second night in Yongsan, I had a dream, and I would actually like to share this dream with you here today. In my dream, I had a dog, a beautiful dog that I loved very much. It was a pit bull mutt, and this pit bull followed me everywhere I went, my whole life, every walk I went on, every time I went to town, the pit bull was by my side, always off leash. Trusted him very much, loved him dearly. And one day, I was walking along a cobblestone street with my pit bull, and it was a sunny day, and we were just enjoying. And around the corner came a police officer. And this police officer was wearing tactical gear. He had a safety harness, had a baton, you know, the usual things that police officers will wear. And the appearance of this police officer startled my dog. And my dog responded and lunged at the police officer. And, attacked. And the police officer stayed calm, shaking his head at me, and calmly said, well, now we're going to have to put down your dog. And my heart was broken. And at the same time, I understood the danger that my dog posed to the officer or to society as a whole, that even though 99% of the time the dog was staying by my side, even if it lunged once, that was a risk and dangerous. Upon reflection on this dream, I came to understand that both the dog and the officer are my mind, and they're both different qualities within it. Sometimes we're lunging, and sometimes we're policing. And as I reflected on moments in my life, I could clearly pinpoint times where I made decisions based on fearful impulses that led to harm in society. When I was 2 years old, I lost my right eye and was prone throughout my childhood to having other children or people out of fear, because it was so unknown to them, to say harmful things to me. And in response to those harmful things, my mind would create a protector, such as a pit bull, to then respond when such perceived harm was done to me. When I would respond in a harmful way, all that was left was someone or a group of people that were left more harmed by my response. But the situation within me remained the same. So quickly coming to understand that my responses to certain conditions were just creating harm to society, and it was my responsibility to get to know and train my mind so that I could be of service to society and not a slave to my fear responses. My untrained mind can be dangerous to society, and my trained mind can be of large benefit. For a trained mind to be of benefit to society, we have to have a lot of trust with our mind, and we have to build that trust slowly with discipline and practice. As I have learned in my romantic relationship over these past years, trust is very delicate and needs to be cared for and tended to consistently. The same goes with the trust in our minds. Walking off leash with our minds is a privilege earned through trust. And I am here at One Dharma, and I have been here for the last few years to train my mind and to build that trust so that I can be of service to my community, the people I love, and fellow beings. An untrained mind that leads to mindlessly following impulses or being distracted by sensory conditions, which follows in line with Jieun's Dharma talk, thank you for that, jeopardizes our ability to serve our community. An untrained mind can be extremely dangerous, and a lot of harm in the world, physical and mental, is due to fear responses from untrained minds. So I think the work that everyone's doing in here to train and get to know their minds is extremely noble. How nice it is to be off leash with a mind that we love and trust. My mind is my responsibility. I need to make sure it is not only safe but beneficial for my community. If I work with it in a disciplined manner, I can reap the benefits of a loving and trusting relationship. And that is one of the many things that I took from my stay in Yongsan.
Thank you, Martin, to your sincere practice and your personal story with us. And we are so happy to have you in our community. Now, Kathy has some announcements.
So now we want to take a moment to welcome some dear guests who are visiting from the One Institute of Graduate Studies in Philadelphia. So we have the president of the One Institute, also Reverend Joe. Some of you may know Reverend Joe, who was a resident here and a minister here, and also the Institute board members and their families. They are here on a 3-day retreat. So the One Institute, if you don't know, is the college for that many of us, anybody can attend online classes, and they also have a strong acupuncture for acupuncture students school. So let's rise and let's rise and welcome them, and also for all the selfless service that they give. So they're in the actually I should ask them to rise. Can you raise your hand? Instead, let's give them a round of applause. Sorry. I do quite a bit at the One Institute in Philadelphia. Speaking of the One Institute, we have a class coming up online at the One Institute, led by Reverend Yu and our retreat director, and Reverend Bup. This is called Unlocking the Wisdom of Won Buddhism. So this is an introductory course and lets you learn a little bit more and lets you learn about what Reverend Jieun spoke about and how to train our minds, like Martin said. So that is a 10-week course, and it's every Tuesday starting from September 17th. And that's 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. So there are scholarships available for that, but there's flyers in the foyer, and then also you can find out information online. We also have 2 retreats coming up. So this is a retreat, Embracing Change, and this is Labor Day weekend. It's a silent retreat. So it's from Friday, August 30th to Monday, September 2nd. And this is, again, with Reverend Yu as our main teacher, and also Reverend Doyon from the Manhattan Temple. One more retreat. And there is another retreat October 2nd through the 6th. This is called Coming Home, Awakening to Awareness. So this retreat is coming up as well. And then one last announcement, September 17th, there will be a music festival here. So a little party for everyone. But we need musicians. So if you would like to come and you play an instrument, please come and play, or talk to Reverend Ginger about that, or one of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. And today we dedicate the merit of our practice to fostering peace in the Middle East. We also hold in our hearts the victims of disasters around the world, including here in the United States, and wish safety and comfort for them and their families. So with deep compassion, let us join in a moment of silent prayer for the peace and well-being of all beings in the one world, one family. Next week, we will have a special Dharma service of self-transformation. So I look forward to seeing you all then. And thank you to everyone who joined us today, both online and here in the Dharma Hall. And Clark prepared some cookies and muffins today. Yeah. So this concludes our Sunday Dharma service. Thank you.
Thank you.